Are you tired of being the number one speed dial at your child's school? If so, you want to listen up. What if I told you that focusing on their lack of services and taking up the victim mindset is actually harming your child's ability to no longer eventually need those services? So our kids who are on the spectrum, who have autism, who have ADHD, they fall into categories like flight risk, aggressive behavior, sensory processing overload. And these are the top reasons why we get that dreaded school pickup call. And the thing is that, I don't know why it keeps doing that. The thing is that that is in our school system, like many of our other systems, are very slow to change. And so taking on that feeling that it's happening to us is actually going to be hindering us at moving forward into the avenues that our children can actually thrive if we were to address these things. So if this is you and you do not want to have your child ever kicked out of school, I want you to listen to what I'm about to share. First off, hi, I'm Natalie Pelto. I am the co-founder of Blue Life RX, a health initiative and company that focuses on bringing lifestyle medicine to adults and children alike. Now, my expertise is on helping children with lifestyle interventions for brain development, specifically for children on the spectrum who have autism or ADHD or any learning disability, and to help them thrive in an area in the world, basically normalizing their ability to communicate, become independent, and live the life of their dreams. Now, if you want to get access to our weekly content, make sure to subscribe below. So our school system is much like I said above, or like what I said before, is kind of like our healthcare and our government system. They are what we call reactive systems, not proactive systems. This is something that we have to choose as a parent. Having spent 21 years in healthcare, where I saw this day in and day out, it really showed me what not to do in my own autism journey. And we have families come into the program at the worst case scenario that I was talking about before, where a parent has had to actually stop working because their child is no longer accepted at the school. And that's honestly the biggest fear for most parents, getting that last phone call where the last pickup where they're sharing that they just can't provide or have the services able to help your child thrive in that environment. And I had one family, again, just going into a story to explain how this looks. We had one family so devastated when the mom had to stop working. And her exact words were, "I feel like I've lost my potential to the world." This is a very unrealized and untalked about fact, is that when a parent is forced to become the caregiver by force, they are no longer, like, the special needs child is not only, we're not only losing their ability to share their gifts with the world or to discover their gifts, but we also lose the gifts of the parent, that they're already, their potential, their purpose. And this is absolutely devastating to our collective, to our society. So after learning that behaviors, attentions, and sensory processing disorder and aggression, this mom, after she learned this, were linked to just a few potential root causes that could be taken care of at home. This mom took action, and guess what? She ended up not having to take a full retirement, but she was able to take more of a sabbatical and was able to go back to work. Now, I think that that's really important. Now her son is back at school, he's thriving and consistently continuing to grow and make gains as she continues to bring these habits bring these small, simple habits, but do them every single day consistently, that are absolutely changing his brain development. So we often feel too busy to take on, let's just say, changing meals. And I want to challenge this, because if we don't change our lifestyle, we eventually have an event or a person or something that's going to force that change. So for example, I was very unhealthy. I lived a party life. And I worked in healthcare. So you would think that I would be in health, so I would understand healthcare and understand my own health. But it took for me not for me to get sick, even though I did get sick recurrently, but for my child to actually create this bridge of change within me. And it was a catalyst in every part of our lives. I am not anywhere near the same person that I was growing up. And that is a good thing in many ways. And I think that it's really important. Like these could look different for other people. So I've shared my story, but for some, it looks like a child gets kicked out of school. For others, it could be that a family member gets cancer. But if we do not start to make these changes, we are impacted by these choices very, very quickly in our lives. So if we wait for things to happen, we actually are making that same choice as society and our systems teach us to make. This is the reactive system, remember? So they wait for things to happen to them to take action. What we know now, though, is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So a reactive system has to fix more things, and it takes longer than if we take a proactive preventative approach in many things in life. So this is what we teach at Blue Life RX often, is to have a more proactive and preventative system. But I'm going to give you the best 3 pieces of advice that I learned through my multiple nutrition and lifestyle and brain development programs. So number 1 is to focus on plants, and many of them. Just for dopamine pathways enzymes to work, we need upwards to 15 vitamins and minerals. So take that into consideration. Think about that. For one simple release of chemical attached to the cell receptor, it could take upwards to 50 nutrients to be cofactors in enzymic processes. It's huge. And I know that that's a lot of kind of science that doesn't make a lot of sense probably to some people, but just know this, basically your brain is made of out of the nutrients. We are what we eat takes on a whole new meaning when you actually believe what it is. Because it's easy to say that. We can look at ourselves and think of ourselves as like this external skin sack that where we are what we eat. But the truth is that it's so much deeper than that. Everything we build within ourselves is based on nutrients that we provide on the day-to-day. And many of these need to be ingested from the foods that we eat. We don't make these ourselves. So this is a really cool study that was found that they did in a juvenile center. And I don't have it linked. I'll probably link it I'll link it below. But the gist of it was, there was a study at a juvenile center that when a whole foods vitamin was added just as a half dose, the teenager's aggression went down by staggering numbers. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember it was staggering because I've heard the study multiple times at multiple different events, some that had nothing to do with autism and ADHD, but that were talking about our children's nutritional deficiencies in the world today. So imagine just a half whole foods vitamin. Now, am I a person who promotes vitamins? No. And if you know me, if you've seen any videos on my channel, you know that I focus on a whole foods approach as the foundations. But cool study anyways, just to show that our kids are nutritionally depleted. Number 2, make sure they are always hydrated. Okay, for at school, this is so important. We just came out of COVID. Our children are wearing masks all the time back then. They have lost these habits of consistently drinking water. And just a 2% dehydration can impact their cognitive ability to stay focused and add attention, meaning more behaviors in class, meaning moving around, not paying attention, having to be redirected, needing EAs. So hydration is so, so important. Number 3 is make sure they are moving their bodies a lot. Kids need endorphins. This keeps them happy. They need their happy hormones and oxygen to move towards the brain. So these are all brain development supports that we often think that we should do or we can do, but because they're just so easy not to do, sometimes they fall off of our habit list. And number 4 is a bonus. Remove all ultra-processed foods. Let's be completely serious. In the 1970s, our grocery stores did not look like they do now. What we see now is an overabundance of processed foods and an underabundance of whole foods. What we're seeing are vegetables that are nutritionally depleted because of how much we impact the earth with things like glyphosate and pesticides, and we see an abundance of calorie-high, nutritionally harmful or lacking foods that actually reduce our nutrients in our bodies. These are actually called ultra-processed foods, are so harmful that not only do they not add or have zero nutritional value, but they take so much work for our body and our children's bodies to digest that it takes away the nutrients that they already have. And so it's like a double hit. It's a double depletion. And it's sometimes, so those are my 4 tips. And so now it's a huge time for you to take action. It's time for us to go from victim mindset to empowered mom and move forward. And if you have any questions about that, drop them in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, and you would like to know more about our process to reclaim lost milestones for your child and to make sure that they become conversational, independent, and living the life of their dreams, make sure to watch the webinar that is linked below. It is amazing and is full of my best secrets. Make sure you have a pen and paper, and then make sure to subscribe.